That was great.
What up, guys? Yeah, that was really good. That was a good first intro. So I'm here with my brother today, Joseph. This was yeah, he's an Eagles fan. I'm a 49ers fan. Two bros in a nutshell. Wait, what?
Fake 49ers fan. I'm just kidding.
Two bros. Hey, I've been since I was like 4. So
yeah, I'll give you that.
in a nutshell, we're going to discuss the main topic will be Devonte Smith. Will he make the Pro Bowl receiver for the Eagles? Will he make the Pro Bowl year 1? And then we'll go into some other topics later on. So let's see. Let's pull it up on the screen.
And Benjamin just got listed on an article in Sports Illustrated. So whoop whoop.
Yeah,
dudes.
Hey, Amin, shout out Amin Dream and a few other guys. They got
your average sports
there
kid
too. Yep. So will Devonte Smith make the Pro Bowl year 1? You can go first.
So I was thinking about this. This is tough. I think we're moving towards a future where the Pro Bowl is definitely a little bit different. In basketball, having fun and throwing hoops and doing great alley-oops and not giving much effort looks cool. And 40,000 fans will pay to see it, and there will be a bunch of people online who pay to see it because it's cool. People not tackling in football sucks. And we all know that, they have tried multiple formats. I personally thought the draft format was really good. You could see legends from the AFC play with the NFC, but there's just no heart, and nor should there be. I mean, unless there's a massive incentive, like teams like the Champions League in soccer, they give an incentive for winning a cup. So if maybe there was an incentive that you get a better draft pick, but then that falls on the team. And if you get a better draft pick, if you get more money, players making millions, are they going to care? So the only incentive could be like a spot in the playoffs, which they're never going to do because you've got 16 teams on either side playing against each other. Right. And so that makes no sense. So the reason why I'm prefacing what I'm going to say is I think it's difficult because I feel like Pro Bowl voting has become so fan-based. I saw something on Instagram 2 weeks ago where they're like, Ryan Fitzpatrick has basically all the stats he could make except a Pro Bowl to make it to the Hall of Fame. So let's vote into the Pro Bowl. And I'm sitting here going, I love Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'm a huge Fitz fan, but he's not a Pro Bowl player. He's not going to put up Pro Bowl numbers. But the joke is if a million fans get together and decide he's our guy, technically, from my understanding with the Pro Bowl voting, and I may be wrong, he would make the Pro Bowl. Now, that's probably not going to happen, but there's an example of how I think in the past, there's some serious Pro Bowl snubs. Now, most of the time, the Pro Bowl is, roughly, I think you and I could say pretty fairly voted on it. But yeah, I was just sort of looking, this is sort of going to play. Some of these receivers are going to be playing into my next question, but you just look at a list of receivers. Correct me if I'm wrong. They allow 3 receivers from each team, normally a backup, right? So there's 8 total receivers voted. From each conference.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So 6 to 8 receivers, and
there's like 4 each conference or whatever.
Now, of course,
4 or 5. Yeah,
of this list, I expect at least one of those teams to represent someone in the Super Bowl. So obviously, this list could change, but I looked at a list of receivers ahead of Devonte Smith, and the number one predicting factor, in my opinion, is how well will Hurts perform. And I mean, dovetail into this conversation if we want, but Nick Sirianni is a first-year coach. You can really call Hurts a first-year quarterback. He played for 4 games. He played defenses that really weren't trying to win. It wasn't a good 4 games. The only team that actually was trying to win games was the Taysom Hill-led Saints.
Yeah, and
of course,
that was without Drew Brees too.
He was playing. The biggest thing is they were playing, division games towards the end. But one of the things is it just wasn't enough for me to be convinced that he's a franchise quarterback. I love Hurts. I'm a big Hurts fan. I'm also a huge Wentz fan, so a little salty. But if you want, I can list off, 8 receivers that I see ahead of Smith. I think Smith is going to be a great receiver. So I can do that, or we can go towards your opinion, and I'll hit back on mine. So.
My answer is I think like it's like kind of like Brandon Ayuk last year. It depends how much workload he gets. And like, yeah, it's definitely a popularity contest, and that's like the main factor driving it. But it's definitely a workload that he gets. And I do expect him to get a big workload. But the other point that I was going to make is, you know how like sometimes like Jimmy Garoppolo, he wasn't a big Brandon Ayuk guy. He was more Deebo Samuel because he could do those little what are they called? Shovel passes. But now Brandon Ayuk, so it's all about the relationship of chemistry between the quarterback and the receiver.
Yep.
So it's gonna have to depend on how much chemistry they build towards that relationship between them. And I think the biggest thing is, yeah, so that's the workload, and yeah, I mean, how many times he targets him. Now, if you had to bring it down to, is he the only receiver? You could argue that there is a few, but Zach Ertz isn't really, I mean, he's not that great.
So
wait, oh yeah, I forgot it. Yeah. So, and then you only really have the guy that they drafted last year. And then who else? Like Dallas Goedert.
Yeah.
Goedert.
It's going to be good. Mm-hmm.
But I don't know who else. So he has a good chance to become a number one receiver. Go ahead.
Certainly. Yep. And that's why they drafted him. So
yeah, I mean, that's all I was going to say on that, but it all depends on how much he likes him.
Yeah.
Wait, who both played at Bama?
Oh, both Deebo Samuel and right? Didn't Deebo play?
No, Deebo Samuel played at South Carolina. Not your average sports kid would know that because
did they? They did both play. Oh, Hurts and Smith. Yeah. So there's
really
chemistry right there. Yeah, Jalen Hurts was the starting quarterback for Alabama, and then transferred to Oklahoma. There's a big, huge uproar because Hurts was essentially the starting quarterback, and then Tua came in, and then Hurts came in and played the game.
Oh yeah,
you know this.
Oh yeah, Hurts and I knew that.
So,
I don't know what you were.
With that being said, they got him to be a number one. You don't pick a guy unless you're the Eagles with the 11th pick to be a number two receiver. However, just because you put up 1,000 yards does not mean you make the Pro Bowl, and I think we've seen that before. So, there's 8 receivers that I can list off, and I didn't even include Deebo Samuel, but Sirianni is going to funnel the offense through 2 guys, in my opinion, Sanders and Smith. And Smith is going to put up 1,000 yards. I think he will.
Miles
Sanders, the running back.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
He's going to, Goddard's going to be a top guy, but those 2 guys are going to be who I believe the offense is going to be run through. However, one of the main issues is just because you have the offense run through you, are you going to put up 1,000 yards? I want to say he will, but maybe not this year. There's 8 receivers that I think are ahead of him. Now, can he be better than them? I think he can be better than almost every one of them. You got Stephon Diggs, lock to make the Pro Bowl. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin's, those are both toss-ups, but they're also good. Michael Thomas, I know James Winston is not good, but Michael Thomas is great.
I guess the NFC is really loaded with receivers now that you think about it. And wait, Stephon Diggs isn't in the NFC.
Well, every one of these on my list is from the NFC except Stephon Diggs. So you've got Michael Thomas, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Amari Cooper, and Terry McLaurin. And there's still loads of other receivers. I mean, there's Kenny Galladay.
Yeah. And even I know Brandon Ayuk, but if Trey Lance is the starter, let's say week 4 or something, Brandon Ayuk's going to get a ton of work because he's a deep threat.
Yeah.
The Dream says that what's up the intro is fire. Yeah, that was something I came up last minute today. I'll play it to you guys at the end when we end, but what? Oh, he also mentioned DeAndre Hopkins. That's another.
I'm not seeing the questions. Are you seeing them? Oh gosh, darn it! I'm stupid. I'm looking at the comments now. Sorry.
Okay, but DeAndre Hopkins. That's another.
Oh yeah, I mean the biggest thing is I was more focused on NFC players and I threw in Stephon Diggs. I think they're going back. They're still sticking with the AFC NFC draft. If they did mix them up, that's a toss-up on who makes the top 8. Yes, DeAndre Hopkins is a better receiver, but obviously he wouldn't be considered in Pro Bowl voting. Look, if Devonte Smith puts up 1,500 yards, he's making the Pro Bowl. But, look, the Eagles, I think, are going to have a top 5 O-line. I think
they're going to try to run it.
They're going to run it a lot.
That's what the Colts used to do too.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, look, T.Y. Hilton was not a pushover when it comes to Nick Sirianni's offense. He's an older player, but he still did well. And look at how Michael Pittman.
Was Nick Sirianni the offensive coach?
Yes, offensive coordinator. Michael Pittman, I think that's his name. He has his dad is, I think, Michael Pittman Senior. He was picked in the 3rd round, and he put up insane numbers. I mean, he was a good receiver last year. He wasn't great, but he was a good receiver. And
because he fit the system because he was tall, and so Phillip Rivers could just throw it up to him and he would catch it.
So Nick Sirianni is an offensive-minded coach. I think he's got a better playbook. I think, hopefully, this is presuming a lot because we haven't seen him play. He's got a better playbook than Doug Peterson. But the Pro Bowl comes down to, at the end of the day, 100%. And sorry, I meant to say Deandre Hopkins. He's in the NFC now. I don't know why I thought he was in the AFC still, but yes, Deandre Hopkins, to answer your question, is better than Devonte Smith, and he could take Stephon Diggs' place. But at the end of the day, it comes down to fan voting. And Larry Fitzgerald is a toss-up. Who knows? If you put up 1,000 yards, I think fans automatically think, okay, we could vote for this guy. So Smith could make it. Would I say statistically he's going to be better than all those receivers? No, but of course, as an Eagles fan, I'd love to see him represent the Eagles in the Pro Bowl, but I don't think it's happening unless so.
What place will the Eagles, and he knows a lot more than me, he keeps up with the Eagles a lot, so what place will the Eagles be in the division? 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or last?
Okay, well, you want to answer this, and me and Dream? Oh, well, okay, he asked 2 questions. What place will the Eagles be in the division? Okay, it's a dumpster fire, the NFC East, to answer that question. I am not proud of the way my team played there. The bottom line is the NFC East is one of the highest criticized teams. When you look at it, you've got one of the best, most prolific profiles in the Dallas Cowboys. They bring in the most money per year from a team.
And they also have they literally have no salary cap. What's the?
I'm looking at brand image. I'm looking at the reason why they're so focused on by the media is you look at all of them. Washington just changed their name. New York is forever known as the team that beat Brady. Eagles are going to be forever known as the team that has done really bad, but also had that one freak year where they won a Super Bowl. So the media already focuses on that division, and they're a complete dumpster fire of a team. When you talk about people wanting to not allow a team from the NFC East to make the playoffs just because they were so bad, I think that's a baloney rule because not every team is going to be that bad next year. They all had first-year head coaches except Doug Peterson, who coached terribly towards the end of the year especially. To answer your question, what place will the Eagles be in the division, 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, or last? I'm going right now 3rd because I think they're going to finish.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they're going to finish ahead of the Giants. I have no faith in Daniel Jones as a quarterback. He is not good, and he's overrated. They have surrounded him with utmost talent. If he cannot perform, he does not deserve to be not even a backup in this league. He is bad. Now, they have set him up to succeed, so we'll see. Washington, there's no clear quarterback, so I could see the Eagles tying for 2nd.
But they have a competent, and they also have a great defense.
Look, I think Washington can win the division. The Cowboys are dumpster fire. I don't care. They have a team that should bring them to the Super Bowl, but they've had that for the last 3 years. They've had an amazing team.
I was going to say 2nd. But the way your
I'm
team
still going 3rd. 3rd or last.
The way your team has played the last 2 years, they haven't played up to their competition.
Yes. And look, they have every chance to make it 1st place. I just don't know what I know. We've got 2 variables here: Hurts, and we've got Hurts and Sirianni. They are both coming together to learn a new system together, and I want him to go first, and I think it's very possible. And part of me says, if you look at their schedule, it's extremely easy. They can, but you got Washington's tough defense, and do we have a defense that can stop Dallas? And Dallas's offense should be good, but we got to remember this is Mike McCarthy, so I don't like any of the coaches, and to be honest.
Mike McCarthy's a pushover. I hate him.
think you've got Dallas and Washington, which are your 2 favorites to win, but then they also have the 2 in my opinion, your coaches are in order: Sirianni and Ron Rivera, and then Joe Judge. Though all those three sort of set the platform, and then you've got massively below that McCarthy. I am not a good high McCarthy coach. I think one of the biggest things that I see when I think about McCarthy is they only won one Super Bowl with a heck of a team with the Packers. I work on the daily basis with a Packers fan. He's been a Packers fan his whole life. He hates Mike McCarthy. And they brought them a Super Bowl for the first time. So you think...
Well, and also, like, I don't know, Mike McCarthy, the only thing that's still keeping him in the league, you could argue, is those few good seasons with the Packers.
But were they good seasons? I mean, they always underachieved besides the one... Now, you could blame that on Aaron. You could blame... But the truth is they had a good team. And I see the same thing recreating in Dallas, where you've got McCarthy. They have a great team, but they can't win past the championship. I could see the Dallas Cowboys winning a game or two in
for sure.
But yeah, so I don't want to go long-winded on that, but there was another question that me asked. 200 yards receiving is good. No, it's not. Michael Pittman Jr. had 200 receiving yards. No. I agree with you. I think, okay, I should have taken back. He had a good season considering that I don't think anyone thought he would actually play much because he was drafted in the 3rd round. He was behind T.Y. Hilton, 2 tight ends, and what's the other second receiver? I can't think of his name now. There's Zach Pascal, but I don't think he...
No, I was going to say that.
And then there's I can't think of the other receiver, but I would say Pittman, in my opinion, had a good year considering that he wasn't expected to be a starter. He didn't put up starter numbers, but he showed some flashes, and we also have got to realize he had Phillip Rivers throwing the ball to him.
Yeah.
So,
that's... Hold on, I'm looking it up right now.
I agree with not your average sports kid. It's too easy of a schedule, in my opinion, for the Eagles to finish last. Now, they could. Hurts could play terrible, but that schedule is incredibly easy. We don't have to fly on a plane after week 8. I don't know if you
really?
That. Yes. We travel, but we only drive by bus, and that's a huge benefit.
There's Paris Campbell.
Yeah, there we go. So...
Okay, so let's get on to
in the 2nd round. He was expected to be a starter. He was the 38th pick in the draft. Oh, that's my bad. You corrected me. I stand corrected. I don't know why I thought he was in the 3rd round. Maybe I'm thinking of his dad.
I know he was a 2nd round pick early. I remember.
No, and I do agree. He was planning to be a starter. I think he has potential. What I'll say is I wasn't super high on Pittman, and he exceeded my expectations. I didn't really, I actually had the Eagles potentially getting him with a late 2nd round pick. Of course, they went ahead and they picked Hurts. Which, the more I look back at it, may not have been a bad pick. We'll see. And you both confirmed that he said he was supposed to start. So I stand corrected. I thought he was in the 3rd round. I didn't think he was supposed to start. I don't know. Was he supposed to start? Because Paris Campbell, Zach Pascal, I think those guys, they were all supposed to battle.
Maybe he was battle it out, but I like Michael Pittman a lot.
But this definitely went down a rabbit hole. We were talking about Devonte Smith.
That's fine, dude.
Question, no. Devonte Smith will not make the Pro Bowl. I want him to. If a bunch of crackhead Eagles fans get on and vote him to the Pro Bowl, there's a chance he will. I'll be one of those. But yeah, he's not.
I'm the type of person that's gonna. Do you know who River Craycraft for the 49ers?
No, Benjamin, don't think.
I'm the type of person who's gonna draft him, and he doesn't even have a catch.
No. That's why I don't like the Pro Bowl because But then again, okay, you say, well, if the fans shouldn't...
Not everybody's like that, dude. A lot of people are brutally honest.
If the fans shouldn't vote for them, who should? Because I don't like the fact that the MVP is voted by a group of like 4 or 5 guys. I mean, probably not that. It's probably more than that, but still. So, yeah, that's sort of where I stand on it. I do think the fans should choose because I think most fans are reasonable enough to make sure that, Dennis Schroeder doesn't win MVP for the NBA and, something like that. So, yeah.
Okay. So going on to the next topic, that was some good stuff. I always like talking with you because you give me an Eagles perspective, but you're actually brutally honest for an Eagles fan. So ranking the top,
it's tough. These are dark times.
Ranking the top 5 receivers of the last decade, 2011 to 2021.
Okay.
Or 2010, whatever.
Okay.
I guess I'll go start with this one. My first one was Julio Jones.
Before you start,
go ahead.
Are we saying if you played in that decade, you can be counted, or you have to have played the full 10 years?
Oh, no. Decade you can be counted. Like, Calvin Johnson played probably like 4 years of that.
Well, I was going to get to that.
1 year, no, because you'll still have guys like older guys that were really good, but no, it's really who played their best years in that decade. And you could argue Calvin Johnson played his best years in the decade. So
go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you. I just wanted to check.
So Julio Jones, number 1. I should have gone from number 5. Fine, I'll go number 5. Tyreek Hill is number 5.
Okay.
I don't know. He has a great quarterback, but I really like Tyreek Hill. Like, I think he is one of the premier speed players. Yeah. If you have Tyreek Hill on your team, dang, dude, like and I didn't want to say Antonio Brown, just a spoiler alert. I'm not going to put him in my top 5. I don't know. You could say he's a top 5, but I mean, I guess he had some really good years, 2013, 2014, 2015. But I'm not going to say him just because he's really finished off bad. Larry Fitzgerald is number 4.
Okay.
He had some really good years earlier on. DeAndre Hopkins, number 3. This is, okay. I don't know. I was kind of off the top of my head, but Calvin Johnson, number 2 and number 1. You could say Julio's like 3rd, but I just threw up a list and I put him number 1.
Yeah, I agree with that list. I've got a few different additions. I was trying to refresh my mind on some of the, the top guys during the decade, because I've been watching for now 15 years or more, really heavily, probably 12 to 13, really, really heavily. And, I'm sort of the fan that, in the beginning, when I didn't have school and work, I was watching, 12 games a week. Every game that I could. For a couple of years. Now I primarily stick to Eagles games and fantasy football. So I feel like, oh crap, some of these guys. But I think when you look at the decade, you got to throw AJ Green in at 5.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Now I'll throw some honorable mentions in, because AJ Green sort of is on the brink for me of honorable mentions, because I have at 4. In my opinion, you have Antonio Brown. Mm-hmm. So Antonio Brown, he put up some good seasons. I mean, look, they should have been to the Super Bowl. There was a Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, Ben Roethlisberger, insane trio. You could somehow get them in fantasy, which blew my mind. And they were playing well. I think one of the things they lacked was a somewhat defensive line, good offensive line. They still had that defense. It blows my mind that they didn't win the Super Bowl. I know they came close to getting to it. Antonio Brown's got to be 4 for me. Julio, I think just how dominant Calvin Johnson was. I think Julio for me is 3.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put Julio at 3, and I'm gonna put Calvin Johnson at 2. I mean, dude, he played 4 years, 2011, 2015. Well, I think he played 3 years, but the dude put up, I think, one of his best years very soon, very close to before he retired. I mean, he retired out of the blue. No one expected it.
How many years did he play?
It was not long. 8 years less.
8, yeah.
I mean, it was not. It came as a massive shock. I remember sitting.
I mean, dude, his fingers were literally bent sideways. Yeah. I mean,
I would have been almost a senior in high school in 2015, and I remember looking at my phone and being like, "What the heck? Calvin Johnson retired?" And then, of course, for the next 2 years, there was just all this rumor he's coming back. He's coming back. Never did. And then number 1 for me is DeAndre Hopkins. I think DeAndre Hopkins has put up some really, really good years. I mean, I struggle with this. I think Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones, and DeAndre Hopkins all could tie for first place, in my opinion. My honorable mentions are Mike Evans and Larry Fitzgerald. Mike Evans has put up some really good numbers, and Larry Fitzgerald, surprisingly, in the last 10 years, has actually been pretty consistent.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm going off of guys that I've watched a lot in my lifetime.
Does Bryant be thrown in there? I mean, heck, he put up good too.
Yeah.
So if you're doing a top 10, Dez is making it in my top 10.
I should have, and I probably should have named some like you said, honorable mentions. Probably Antonio Brown. You have a few guys like that, like Mike Evans. But Mike Evans, I don't know. I mean, Mike Evans, I think falls in the same boat, and I really liked Tyreek Hill. I don't know if you can name him a top 5 guy yet.
He would have been an honorable mention for me.
Yeah, but anyways, Mike Evans kind of falls in the same boat as DeAndre Hopkins, because I guess he just won a Super Bowl, but before that he had good years, but then he didn't really get anywhere. But
he was a top 3 receiver. I mean, while he was
the whole year, so he stayed consistent. That's definitely true.
I think AJ Green, the reason why I have to include him, and when I was looking at some of the receivers from the last decade, who has AJ Green had throwing him the ball? I mean, like the fact that he was putting at 1,000-yard seasons with Andy Dalton. I know they were slinging the rock a lot because Marvin, I can't think of his name now. What was the coach's name? Not Marv. I wanted to say Marvin, but I can't think of the ex-coach of the Bengals. But the dude was just he was actually wearing a Fletcher Cox jersey. I was gonna wear my Carson Wentz jersey, but sad days. It got
in 1 month. I don't know why NFLshop.com takes so long, but in 1 month, I'm getting a Trey Lance t-shirt, and it's almost exactly like the Jimmy Garoppolo one. So,
nice. Going back to it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, it was tough. Like AJ Green has had a dumpster fire of a QB throwing him the quarterback of this football. I actually think he's going to have a resurrection of a career.
Andy Dalton wasn't horrible in his glory days. I mean.
Well, he wasn't bad, but, it wasn't like he didn't see the reason why you look at these quarterbacks. DeAndre Hopkins had, for the most part of his career, I mean, that's why I think I may have made a mistake putting him so high up. But the most part of the career, he had a good quarterback in why is the name slipping me? He's been in the news like for Deshaun Watson. And then Julio Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Had an MVP season and has had a good 10 years. Antonio Brown had Ben Roethlisberger. Hate him all you want, but he put up good numbers. Calvin Johnson, Matthew Stafford is just a gunslinger. So, like, a lot of these guys, I felt like out of all those guys, Mike Evans, maybe you could throw Mike Evans in there. Mike Evans and AJ Green were the two of the guys who had some of the worst quarterbacks throwing to them, but they put up numbers similar to those guys. So that was sort of why I got my list the way I did. I know we don't want to keep this show too long, so I don't want to lag on about it, but that was sort of my thoughts were on that topic.
That's fine, dude. So the next one, we're going to switch over to the NBA. I kind of wanted to throw in both. This was a last minute topic.
Do we want to throw in this one, or do we want to throw in football and then finish with NBA? It's your call.
I guess we could do that. Yeah.
Your call.
No. We'll do that. So 2 best landing spots for Julio Jones. You can start.
So this is a tough one. It's hard to know what to believe. We are in June 1st, so June 1st cuts are taking place. I would say any day now, I think Zach Ertz is either going to be traded or cut. I don't think the Eagles are that bad of an organization to keep him, but they have said they want to. So gosh darn it, maybe they are a terrible organization. So if I were him, he has given your all. He wants out, deservingly so. He didn't have a great year. I think he can have a resurgence under Jalen Hurts, but you got to realize he had his best year under Carson Wentz, and Carson Wentz is a vastly different style playing quarterback than Jalen Hurts. You're good. Yep. And so I think Zach Ertz realizes that the offense is probably not going to revolve around him like he used to, and that's fine. And he wants out. And, he's getting towards where he has 2 or 3 years of top prime. He is a top 5 tight end. I don't care what you say, but he is. Like, you can name me off. I think him and Goddard are line for line top 5 tight ends. He had a bad year because he was playing behind a dumpster fire.
Wait, you're saying the Eagles might get him?
What? No. I'm saying the reason why I'm saying this is this. Because post-June cuts are happening this week.
Yeah.
Teams are freeing up cap space because he has, I think, an over $15 million cap hit. And a lot of teams they don't want to give a first-round pick for him if that's how much of a cap hit. Now, he could restructure it. I don't know how that will work. My 2 top teams, look, he has given a list of preferred teams. That list of preferred teams was half the league. So he at first said, I want to go to a contender. But then he listed Eagles as a potential fit. And as much as I love my team, they're not a contender for the playoffs this year. They may not even make the playoffs. And so top 2 teams, Patriots and 49ers are my top. However, the Patriots, they have the draft capital. They may not have the budget. The 49ers don't have the draft capital. And I don't think the 49ers have the budget to fit it in.
They do. They would like the other day. I don't know if you saw the Rob Shoe one. He actually listed 4 guys that we could get rid of.
But
to release,
do you want to get rid of guys to get a 30-year-old receiver who may only play 12 games? Like, he's a good receiver. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I would trade picks before players.
The only reason why is because the 49ers right now, if you look at their depth chart of receivers, no, not even that. Depth chart of receivers is scary.
But
past Deebo Samuel.
You get a 30-year-old player to deal with that who struggled with injuries?
I don't know, but literally Deebo Samuel, dude. Yeah. This is why he keeps getting injured every year, because his workload is so big. He's a player. He's kind of like AD, Anthony Davis for the Lakers. he gets on the floor. He gets down and dirty so many times that you have to limit his workload. Otherwise, he's going to get injured. And he's
I
going
agree, but I'm going to disagree with you on this. I do think Deebo Samuel's injury prone, but I also think it could be the fact that, sometimes these college kids, they come into the NFL, and they are underweight and they get hits from players who are like 40 pounds heavier than them,
or they're overweight
of a different position, or they're overweight. But I think in this case, he's probably more so on the smaller size, and they don't bulk up muscle mass. That's why DK Metcalf did so well, because the dude was a hoss coming into college. But you look at some of these receivers,
6'5",
yeah,
just
Devonte Smith, dude, he's tiny. Like, is he going to be able to withstand the hits? And I think that's why you see a lot of players who they label injury prone, but are they injury prone, or is it just that they haven't bulked up yet, or their frame is just small? And that can attribute to injury prone, but I think a sleeper is Seattle, but they don't have first-round picks, and so they're not going to get it. And they're probably not going to trade a second-round pick unless they think this is the year, which it should be, because Russell Wilson, he's going to want out if he doesn't make the playoffs and go deep in the playoffs. A sleeper that I had that was a real sleeper was the Bills. Now, hear me out. The Bills have Stephon Diggs, but you pair Diggs with Julio
and Emmanuel Sanders. That would be the absolute goated team ever. They would make the Super Bowl.
Yes, and so my thing is they have a first-round pick, but I think a first-round pick is too high.
For him.
I think you're going to get 3 years out of him, but some people are look. Julio Jones is going to put you up 1,000 years. He's worth a first-round pick. Depends who you ask. I think the Eagles have plenty draft capital. I think you got to include.
I think 2 seconds and a 4th or something like that would be fine.
Yeah, but that's high. I mean, you got to think. You get a DK Metcalf type of player in the second round. Is he worth it? Look, if you're win now, I'd say yes. I think for the Eagles, no, don't give anything up more than a second for him. Do not give up a first. The Eagles are in a prime position to rebuild. But that's why my top 2 teams are probably, the more I think about the Bills, I don't even know if they're interested. It's Patriots and Bills. But
yeah. And here's the thing. Actually, the 49ers, I don't know, but they literally didn't draft a receiver in the draft. They bulked up on the running backs. They actually got their new offensive coach, offensive coordinator is Mike McDaniels or whatever. Yep. No, Mike. And he is a running game. He used to be the running backs coach. So they're going to literally, I guarantee you, Trey Sermon, Raheem Mostert, and Wayne Gallman, and what's the other one? Whatever. But those 3 guys are going to literally carry the load. And we don't – so we're going to run it. I said the other day, we might have games where we only throw it 15 times.
I think more than that, but I agree with you.
Maybe like 18, 19.
You're going to see a lot of 2 receiver sets. Sorry, go ahead.
And so, I mean, that's the one point I wanted to make. You're going to see a lot of obviously Kyle Juszczyk. You're going to see a lot of running. You're going to see a lot of like 19, 20 throw games. And you're going to see, that's why maybe we don't need him. But I definitely, if you look at the depth chart, we need a third guy to kind of take the load off of Deebo Samuel. And then my two teams were, let me see right here. Broncos and Titans. I didn't want to say the Patriots because I listened to Ian Rappaport the other day, and he said the Patriots are all about value. And is this for a first-round pick? Would this be actually a good value pick? It wouldn't be. And so that's a team that, yes, definitely could get him, but might not get him. They might just miss out because they always like to hoard the picks. And also, they're kind of a team that kind of need those picks to stock up. But, I mean, Julio Jones, that would be a great steal for them.
And he wants to go there, so.
But Broncos, this is kind of one where they have the picks, but I don't know if they're actually going to. What?
They should have the cap. They should have the cap, too. I don't think
they have the cap. They have everything like that. But would he even – the main problem with this one is would he even want to go there? I don't even know.
I don't think he has a choice. I think as long as the team can take it, but obviously a team wants to trade.
Unless he has a no trade clause, but I don't think he has that.
But the thing is this, you don't want to trade for a guy who specifically says he doesn't want to play for you. So he does have the upper hand.
Because that's going to literally be every day in the locker room.
The teams he wants to play for? There's like 18 teams or so. Not 18, but like 14 teams he wants to play for. So, like, I don't think he's picky.
Also, the Broncos, they're not a bad team. They have a good D. They have a few. I mean, that wouldn't be a horrible team to go to.
I don't think the Titans had the cap space mode. I may be wrong.
No, that's another team that they could fit it in, and that would be an amazing fit. He would actually have to wear a different number because of AJ Brown.
Well, AJ Brown said he would give him his number, which I was actually shocked, but yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing, actually, that in the NBA, I don't know if it's the same in the NFL, but you can't come to a team like AD was going to have number 23, but you can't come to a team and in your first year get the number.
No, you can for the NFL, but there has to be an agreement between the players. I think they leave it up to the players to decide that.
Okay.
I may be wrong, though.
Those were my two teams. I mean, imagine him on the Titans.
Imagine him on Seattle or Bills. I mean, I think it's really going to come down to
Seattle can't, dude.
Yeah, they can't.
The Seattle and Rams, this is the only thing. The Rams, were another team. But they are so aggressive, but that's the only thing that will get it done because both of those teams don't have any picks till 2026, 2025.
Yeah, I know. And I think the reason why the Bills are sort of a sleeper for me, but I don't even know if they've even been talking about it, is just because he would be a perfect receiver to come alongside and be, what an
that would be roasting.
But when they have
amazing.
I think what's going to happen is I would not be surprised if Julio Jones, it takes until right before training camp or maybe even in training camp. I don't think this is going to be a quick thing. Even though people say he'll be traded in the coming days, I think there's a chance that this drags on because the Titans, it's the same thing with what the Eagles are trying to do with Zach Ertz. They're going to wait and wait and wait and wait till either a big injury happens or they get the right compensation. And normally that doesn't happen until training camp. So it may happen. I may be wrong and I may eat my words, but that's my opinion. I don't want to, but yeah, that's sort of what I'm thinking.
So the next topic that we that we'll get to is we'll switch to the NBA. This was probably one of the biggest storylines. I know the Lakers are playing in an hour. What?
Let's go Sixers.
Ha! This was, and we can talk about Joel Embiid too, but they're playing in an hour, a little less than an hour and a half. So I want to talk about
the show. It's like we better hurry this up. I got to make sure I get
an hour and a half, dude. 2-hour show. I've never done something that long except for the draft.
And we won't. But
Anyways, so what does the Anthony Davis injury mean to the Lakers? You can start.
So, I was looking up, I don't follow basketball much, but from what I was looking up, there was not much of a drop-off in shooting percentage when he was off the court. When you look at games, I believe it was
he played outrageous when he was on the court.
That's what I'm getting to because
35 points each game.
He commands a presence around him, regardless if their shooting percentage.
He's aggressive. He's big. He's a good defensive player.
Yeah. He's going to score 30-plus points for you at any given game, and they don't have a solid option to match that. It's very similar to the Embiid situation. I don't think he's as valuable to the Lakers as Embiid is to the 76ers, but just like the 76ers, the Lakers don't have someone who can slot in and score 30 points, right? That's just don't. And in addition to that, the Suns shoot more shots than the Lakers, and that was sort of my question that I was going to ask you is, do the Lakers tend to take more time of possession game? Because when I was looking at the shot count, they had, upwards of 15 shots more a game sometimes, and that could just be how it played on. But I feel like Lakers probably try to control the pace of the game, and Anthony Davis, in my opinion, is the type of the player who you can put it in his hands and you can keep passing it and not feel like you have to shoot because you have your, that's just my opinion. He demands more of the presence. So,
I mean, yes, he is, because if you looked at the other day, I think it was when they won their second game, they only made 3 threes. And so they got it done with Anthony Davis and LeBron in the paint. It was just not – wait, hold on. Okay, I'm going to answer that question that just came in just a second. But anyways, they're going to play with Anthony Davis, they play an extremely aggressive type, paint type, old school offense, sorry. And this is a huge loss to them because, honestly, I have some notes right here.
Is he out for this game? Yeah.
He 50-50 chance. They don't really know yet. He's a game time. But that's the other thing. He runs the morale of the team. And this is why when he goes, the team kind of falls apart because he's that type of player that is going to run the morale. When he's out, it's hard to win without him.
And LeBron walked off the court last game.
I hated that. I didn't even watch that game, but I hated that
No,
when
that
I
was
heard.
a shame. He's a leader, and that really annoyed me. But I think Anthony Davis would have helped.
Anthony Davis is the true leader, dude. I love him. He's
When he's going to be there longer. He's going to be
before
there
when he was
LeBron, probably.
what?
He's probably going to stay longer than LeBron. So
Oh yeah. They have him locked in for the next like 5 years. But anyways, so he's going to command obviously a presence, but the morale is huge. Like even when he was injured last time, he would take Kyle Kuzma off the court and be like, "Hey, dude, you're doing this, and this wrong." Like he's a really true leader, and I don't get LeBron sometimes because sometimes he can act like a true leader, but then sometimes I'm like, "What the heck are you
he's
doing?"
been in the league for 20 years, right? So, I mean, like, yeah, I think he's sort of done his fair share of leading. And I think, look, LeBron is like Tom Brady, in my opinion. In fact, there's a difference between LeBron and Tom Brady, and I hate Tom Brady. But Tom Brady, he does not care who you are. He's going to make sure that you play your butt off. LeBron, I think, is that leader like Tom Brady, but just wants to sit back, score your points, be the leader, but not really be the guy that controls the game, even though he ends up doing it because he's so good. I think he's in the time of his career where LeBron doesn't want to have to, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't watch a ton of basketball, but I don't think he's the type of player right now that's like, okay, I want to put up 40 points a game for my team because that's what I'm about. I think LeBron would rather put up 30 points and try to facilitate someone else on his team to do better. Because
I was not impressed like last time how he. But I don't know. I mean, I really was wanting to see him put up like 35, 40 points last game. But the question always comes up, is he even healthy enough to do that? Like,
no. Look, they're playing tonight at home. They played, I told you when we spoke like a couple days ago, they were playing the Suns in the Sun Stadium for Game 5. That is not a good recipe. It was the perfect.
No, that was.
If the Suns were on a 1-game win streak, they won at home against. They won at home against the Lakers, and then they won in the Lakers stadium, and then they come back home.
Well, and the reason why they won that is because AD left the game early, and we only lost 8 points.
If he doesn't play tonight, I don't think the Lakers make it past the Suns. However, this is what it comes down to. If he doesn't play tonight, right, and they somehow manage to win, he better come back next game because they're going to lose. Because you've got Game 7 in Phoenix. Those fans, there's fans in the stadium stands. But look, there was reports that came out today that Chris Paul wants out, that Cam Irving wants. No, is it Cam Irving? Cam. I'm thinking Cam Irving. Yeah, Cam Irving. Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 players on the Suns team that they already want to be either traded or paid more next year. And so is that affecting are they going to
Chris Paul? He's getting paid $45 million.
No, he's opting out. He is most likely opting out of his $45 million clause in hopes of signing a 3-year $100 million contract.
Lakers, baby.
Yeah, so with that being said, he's opting out of his player option, which means he's actually foregoing money to basically sign a longer contract with a team or maybe with the Suns. Yeah. But does that type of friction cause an ability to potentially have the Lakers win? But they've got to win out. So win out with an injured LeBron because he's still battling that injury, and an injured Caldwell Pope, and an injured.
Oh yeah, that was such a big loss, bigger than we would have won the other night. I realized this. We would have won the other night when AD went out. We would have won the other night because that's an extra 8 points 10 points that he would have given us. He gives us that each night, but like I said, if AD even plays 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 28 minutes tonight, then I think he could really boost the morale.
Is he going to play 20 minutes with that injury? I mean, I'd say it's a similar look. It's not as bad of an injury as Joel Embiid's, and I know we won't touch on that, but it's not as bad of an injury as Joel Embiid's. But the bottom line is just you one of two.
What did he have? A minor meniscus tear?
And Andrew Bynum, I believe that's his name. He was a Lakers player. He played with a small meniscus tear, and apparently his career was never the same. But with that being said, going back to Anthony Davis, he played in the playoffs. Yes.
Wait, so when is Joel coming back?
We don't know. He missed obviously last game. We won against the Hawks, and we won against the Wizards. We now play game 1 on Sunday at 1 p.m. against the Hawks. I think they're going to rest him a game. I think they can afford to lose a game at home against the Hawks. You've got to take it easy. You've got to take this seriously. This is a good Sixers team that is potentially returning all of its starters next year. Now, maybe Ben Simmons gets traded in the offseason, but either way, this is going to be a good team next year. If you're foregoing Joel's career to potentially make a run, I still think Milwaukee's the best team in the East. I don't think they're going to get past
Milwaukee. Oh man, I mean, I think they could beat the Nets.
I think. Well, I think they will beat the Nets.
I honestly think that point guard, what's his name, Drew Holiday.
Yeah,
he completely changed it. He's insane. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. I think
we could do a whole new show, another show on that, because I have a lot of insight on him. But the biggest thing is when it comes to like Anthony Davis and these Joel Embiids, I guess at some point it's the player's choice to whether or not they want to sacrifice it, and Joel Embiid will. I don't know about Anthony Davis, because the thing is I think Joel Embiid realizes this could be the last year that Ben Simmons is playing, and I think the more we look at it, Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons play phenomenally together, and it was all about Brett Brown's scheme that they didn't last year and the year before maybe, but they play really well together, and I think when it comes down to it, one final thing is Joel Embiid. Or is Anthony Davis going to say, put me in even though I could get re-injured, right? Or is that more...
Could be the KD, and I really don't want to wish this on him, KD situation where he tore his Achilles. Yeah.
After being,
that's the hard
thing. Will AD come out? Will AD come out and say, look, put me in even though I could ruin my quad and have to have surgery and potentially miss? Because you got to realize the playoffs are later this year, and he could miss time if this is a serious injury. Both of those players could. So
yeah,
that's sort of my opinion. It's a huge effect.
And we can do an NBA show maybe when it gets closer to the finals. But this guy says, "Good job, guys. Keep up the great work. Time to watch the Giants pregame." I think that's baseball.
Yeah,
wanted to stop by and see what it was all about. You guys doing great. Go Niners. Definitely a bright future for you guys. Thank you,
someone said Ben DiNucci for the Pro Bowl. I think I don't know what you were thinking about. But I'm just kidding. Ben DiNucci for the Pro Bowl, and then we've got Trace McSorley.
Cowboys lover,
Trace McSorley for the Pro Bowl. Now I love I'd love me some Trace McSorley. I think he's a great quarterback. I think better than Lamar Jackson.
Go ahead. The old guy that we got, Nate Sudfeld, baby.
Yeah, boy. Look, Nate's
I think he might make third string. I don't know.
Nate's a great quarterback. He's a great backup. He's going to be supportive. He knows the system. He's played in the NFL.
Yeah, and also we had that quarterback's coach for us now, or something higher than that. What's his name? The guy that we used to have. He's Rich Scangarello.
Yeah,
he knows it. He knows the system. No, he sucks. I don't know what the heck. But our last guy wasn't any better. Shane Day.
True thing. But it's been good. That I think Anthony Davis, finishing it off, yes. How much of it will affect? Massively. I don't think they're going to win tonight if he doesn't play.
Really? Oh, okay. I think LeBron's going to go all out tonight. I think they're going to try to really win. I
will give them this. Their back is against the wall. LeBron does good in that. LeBron's also, I think, never lost a first-round series. Crazy stuff.
So
the Lakers aren't going to go out. They're not going to drop 20 points. This is at home. It was at the Sun Stadium last time. We'll see. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a very good game.
I'm going to watch that.
I think if Davis doesn't play, I think it's going to be similar to if Joel doesn't play against the Hawks. I think it's a toss-up. Now, the 76ers don't need to beat the Hawks the first game. Yes, the Lakers lose and they're done. So I think there's a little bit more riding on this game. We'll see. I'm a huge.
And hopefully, there's been people that say sorry, you can go ahead.
No, I'm a huge Chris Paul fan, but I don't care much for Phoenix. So go Lakers.
And also, he has his shoulder injured.
But he's been playing through it. He's been.
I know. But anyways, I don't know. This game, they need to come out with fire, because sometimes I've watched Laker games. Sometimes they'll almost lose, in the regular season. They almost lost to the Pistons, one of the worst teams, because they just don't have that fire. And
we'll see.
Need to lose to him. I mean, they need to have that fire. So,
and they will. Backs up against the wall.
Yeah. So guys, I'm going to do this was a lot of fun. We'll probably do something again soon.
Check out Benjamin's YouTube channel, The Camper Report. Got him and Amin the Dream and Not Your Average Sports Kid got featured on Sports Illustrated.
Rob Shue, I did a show with him. Jesse Naylor.
Check that out.
Planning to do a show, if Grant gets back to me, do a show with Eric Crocker, former NFL player that used to play cornerback.
Check out all Benjamin's content. He's got some great videos, great past stuff. You can even dig into some of his pre-draft stuff. A lot of good information. Thanks for having me on your show. We will do this again. Maybe we'll do a NBA themed. Who knows? It could be. We may do an NBA themed one. Suppose the Sixers somehow crash out of the playoffs, and And the Lakers losing against the Suns. We'll be both depressed fans, but
we'll be like,
more so you, because the Lakers had a lot more riding. The truth is, without Embiid, we can't seem to win, but we did last night, so we'll see. But
yeah. Okay, so I wouldn't usually play my intro twice, but since not all of you guys saw it, I really am. I'm gonna probably change it like to something different, but here it is, guys. Peace out. Goodbye, guys, and here it is.
See you later.
Peace.
Yeah, it's been great.